Is it bunny time? Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone. I can't believe Iwabi is messing around here on Final Destination. This is actually a place in the game. It is very far out of bounds, but you can get here. Hi, my name's Mikan. I'm doing commentary for Rabi-Ribi. Iwabi-san is doing an extremely brave category, bunny extinction. I don't even know if there's any other runners for this. There probably are. This is like one of the hardest difficulties you can do in this game. This should be pretty awesome. That'll be Phil. RTA In Japan でラビリビを走るラビリビを走るイワビと申します。普段はゼルダシリーズ Well, I guess I should watch the actual restream. Hope everyone's having a good morning. 奏者として参加しましたが、今回はラビリビという見た目は可愛らしいゲームを走っていきたいと思います。今回やるカテゴリーは一人で走りながら解説するのはちょっと自分の技量ではどうしても追いつかないので、解説の方をお呼びしています。ランタイムさんよろしくお願いいたします。If you have any questions about the game, feel free to ask them. I'll see what I can do. I don't want to start talking about stuff if he's not going to be playing yet. just kind of waiting until they start. It's okay. I don't have like anything planned, so this will be full on. No scripted at all. It'll be nice. A toasted bagel? Nice. I had some SpaghettiOs. The opulent breakfast of kings, let me tell you. How hard is Bex compared to normal? It's pretty tough. Enemies are going to probably consistently be doing close to half of your health, if not more. Because of the way boss scaling works in this game, you don't want to pick up a bunch of items, which means your health is comparatively low than what the game expects. We can get into that a little bit once the run actually starts. It's afternoon, so it's fine. You can eat anything anytime you want. Don't let the time of day stop you from enjoying what you like. Sometimes meat. This one definitely had a meat-like substance in it, and it was very warm, which is great because it's like freezing degrees outside. Oh, we're starting? This looks like the difficulty select I know. Oh man, I haven't done commentary for this game in so long. Especially not a category this long. This would be great. Here we go. Alright. This is Iwabi-san's run of Rabi-Ribi. All town members, bunny extinction, which is a really long name and probably doesn't make any sense if you haven't played this game before. First of all, this is a Metroidvania style game. You're going to be running around a map, collecting items to power yourself up. Lots of bosses to fight in this game compared to other Metroidvanias, I feel. There's like around 20 or so that we're going to get to. Well, some of them are, just getting skipped, but, there are that many.
first item we picked up is the band hammer. No, the Pico hammer. It's going to be your main melee attack throughout the entire game. Going to be whacking enemies here on the way to the first boss. This first section of the game, it's going to last about maybe 8 minutes or so, is kind of the prologue. So you get a lot of these really easy tutorial bosses, and one weird quirk about this game is that you can turn off items you have. So we picked up the hammer, which is our melee weapon, right? And Iwabi actually opened up his menu and turned off the hammer, which means he doesn't have the ability to swing anymore. Well, the game recognizes that you don't have the ability to attack and actually just constantly drains the boss's health. So it becomes kind of a just kind of a dodge sequence, which you can actually just kind of cheese out by sitting here in the corner. Not a whole lot to this first boss. Yeah, you find the right spot and you dodge. So even the first boss in the game does what you saw, maybe 10, 11 damage, which is only 5 hits in the first 2 minutes of the game or so you can take. I think on normal difficulties that would do like maybe 3 or 4 damage. It's the damage increase is kind of a bit. It is going to take a health up right here. Going to be picking up a couple health ups because enemies just will end up doing hundreds of damage by the end. Many hundreds. How come you can downward dash already? That is an innate ability of your bunny. You can jump and do a quick drop downward at any time. It's marginally faster than just walking. It's also a pain in the butt on your fingers. I used to speedrun this game, and that was easily my least favorite part, is doing that quick drop over and over again. So this is Ribbon, the second boss. Again, since the hammer hasn't been equipped yet, you can see he took 27 damage there from contact. It's a lot. Usually the enemy health, if you don't have an ability to attack, the enemy's health will just drain until they get defeated, but it'll pause during like some of these special cut-in attacks just to make it not incredibly easy. So you can see how the boss health in the bottom right is just paused during this one attack. Yeah, this game does have a speedrun mode. It automatically skips all the cutscenes, which is great. There are a lot of cutscenes and dialogue in this game. A lot. It's a whole lot. Man, it's so much. I'm so glad there's a speedrun mode for this game. But no, there's no gameplay changes. Okay, so now that Ribbon's defeated, Iwabi-san's going to turn his hammer back on. Now we can actually hit stuff. And you see we actually have Ribbon as a partner now. She kind of hangs off to your side and shoots magic bullets at enemies, which are controlled by you. She doesn't do it automatically. She's got a rapid fire shot and a charge shot, which you'll see him probably charging most of the time, the little flashing blue thing around Ribbon. This is just a little mini boss encounter. You got to fight these bunnies, who aren't actually bunnies. They just wear bunny ears to try to lure actual bunnies. That's actually the plot point. I didn't make that up. That does sound like something I would make up, but that's not actually what's happening. So the plot of the story right now is that Arena, which is the bunny you control, did not used to be a human bunny. She used to be a normal bunny, and blah, blah, blah. Woke up one time and where the heck am I? I got to get back to town. So that's what's going on. She's headed back to town, and all these stupid bunny people keep getting in the way. But that's what we're doing. We're heading back to town right now to find out what the heck's going on. What is that? Is that a pack-up? I think that's a pack-up. If you're familiar with Paper Mario at all, this game has a badge system. There's a lot of little badges that give you minor benefits here and there, but some give you pretty major benefits, and to equip them, you need badge points, or pack points, whatever you want to call them. So Iwabi's going to be going out of his way just a little bit to pick up these extra pack-ups, which lets you equip more badges at once. This is the last tutorial boss. This is Ashuri on the beach. She's pretty notorious for being random. Usually the bosses in this game, you can tell what they're going to do pretty easily based on their HP value. The attack that they use is based on their HP percentage. A lot of the attack strings that you'll see speedrunners do for this game are like specifically designed to do an exact number of damage so that it doesn't push a boss to like a health value that produces an unfavorable attack. I hope that made sense. At some point, Asher here gets a defense boost, which really, really lowers the damage she takes. She has it right now. It's indicated by near the top right. There's a little orange icon. This difficulty in Bunny Extinction, and I think the previous difficulty as well, when bosses get 10% of their health left, they get an attack boost, a defense boost, and I think a speed boost too. So the last 10% of a boss fight can actually be pretty dangerous if you're not, completely locking them down. Level 21 already. So I feel, yes, it does. That level number does start higher. I feel like the level number is pretty arbitrary. It doesn't really mean anything. You don't. This isn't like an RPG where you gain experience and levels or anything like that. There's no like level counter, so I think it's entirely arbitrary what that level number says. You do get experience with your hammer and ribbon attacks. Like you can hit things with your hammer a little bit once you unlock it, and it unlocks a couple more combo options for the hammer, but usually in like 10 minutes of casual play, those will be maxed out and you don't ever see them again. So it's not really like a lasting thing throughout the run. Alright, here we've reached town and have to do the longest stretch of quick drops in the game. Oh my gosh. This is really tiring, by the way. To quick drop, you have to press down and jump in the air, but you can't be holding down to jump at all, so you have to constantly let go and keep pressing down while holding left and tapping jump in a rhythm here. It's really straining on the fingers, in my opinion. I'm sure Iwabi-san has much more familiarity with it than I do. Okay, so we reach town. Irina is sent out to find people in the world to come back to town and help out with some stuff. That's pretty much the rest of the plot of the vast majority of the game. This game is very, very freeform in how you approach it. Most of the bosses aren't locked behind events that happen in the game. A few of them are, but most of them are not. You're pretty freeform in how you can tackle all the bosses of the game. The game only really wants you to get 10. I think we pick up 14 town members before like the actual post game. This is Kotri. We've seen her a couple times throughout the run. This one's fairly easy, but I mean, when you only have 14 health left, that's like 1 or 2 hits away from from taking a death, so gotta be a little careful. When bosses get low health, you'll see their portrait flash in here and start doing some sort of, I don't know, what do they call those? Desperation attacks? I always just call them cut-in attacks, but that's fine. Oh, don't pick up this badge. Okay, nice. There's items in this game that you don't want to pick up, which is pretty much everything that you don't like need specifically for the run. That makes sense that you wouldn't go out of your way to pick up stuff that you don't need, but it's like actively detrimental in this game. Bosses scale based on your item percentage in this game. They scale of a couple things: item percentage, equipped badges, I think town member progression too. So you don't want to pick up things that you aren't going to use, right? because that's like actively bad. It makes boss fights take longer. It makes them hit harder, and you just don't want that. So what happened right there is these little warp points. Iwabi warped back to town and got the speed boost item, which just passively increases your move speed. You might be noticing him moving just a little bit faster now. Also performed a glitch to be able to upgrade the speed booster to make him even faster. The glitch made it so that it didn't cost any money to do so, or not a lot of money to do so. Pretty cool. To the earliest speedruns, there was I think some might have been this morning. I know the last run, Celeste, we didn't have English commentary for. We had signups earlier than that, but I haven't been awake for very long. Yeah. He also did a trick to get the high jump without going through a pretty lengthy area. You do have the ability to do wall jumps in this game innately. The game doesn't really tell you this. There is a wall jump item that makes them easier to do, but there's actually a special input that you can do from the very start of the game that gives you the ability to wall jump. You can't do constant wall jumps. You can only do like 2 without the wall jump item. So I guess it is kind of limiting that way. Iwabi's taking a pretty long detour right here to pick up the super carrot, which is an amazing attack item. You can see it right here. He charges up and it does this like really tall explosion around you that hits enemies above you. You don't actually have a lot of options for attacking above you in this game, and the super carrot is absolutely fantastic for that purpose. It has a couple other benefits too, but we can go over that in a little bit. So you might notice it fade in and out, but right below Arena, there's this little SP meter. It constantly goes down and fills all the time. That kind of represents your stamina, how many attacks you can chain together before having to stop and rest. You can't attack while it's recharging. The super carrot actually interacts with that very interestingly. It drains all of your SP when you use it, and it's one of the few attacks you can actually use when you don't have any SP, but its charge time is very, very long the lower SP you have. But it actually gets a damage bonus too. It's a very strange item, but it is actually really great because there's some enemy attacks where you definitely have the free time to just stand below them and charge the supercharge attack. Going out of the way to pick up the attack trade badge here, this gives you... Oh gosh, I've forgotten the numbers. I think it's a 25% damage bonus in exchange for taking 50% more damage. It's it's a lot. You take a lot of damage with this badge on, but the damage output that you can do with it is absolutely worth it. And I think that once he equips it, he might wait until the next boss to actually equip it. That's when we're going to start seeing big numbers and also getting near one shot by running into any damage. I'm pretty sure these thwomps here will one-hit KO you. They almost one-hit KO you in lower difficulties too, honestly. Taking another small detour here into this dark room to pick up the Lucky 7 badge. This badge was extremely not important when this game released, but I don't want to say a recent patch because it's probably been a couple years now. But later on, this badge was buffed to do some very interesting things. You can see a semi-solid clip right there. You can actually go down through these semi-solid platforms by doing a downward drill at a specific time. Had to unequip the high jump there for a moment to be able to do that. Yeah, this is a surprisingly big game. There's a lot to this game. If you look at the Steam store page of this game, not gonna lie, you're probably gonna think that it is not at all what it looks like. I see a lot of people, when they see this, they think, oh, you mean this isn't a visual novel? No, this is actually like a big, fully fledged Metroidvania-style game. So here's Vanilla. She's a cat, and she jumps around and kicks a lot. You're going to see Iwabi starting to maybe do a strange attack pattern where he does maybe 5 hits or so in front and then turns around and whiffs the next attack. There's actually a benefit to completely emptying your SP rather than getting it low and then waiting for it to recharge. Once it's completely empty, it actually recharges faster. So the last whiff of the hit is just to make that regen start. You also see him like jump and do this down drill. This adds a lot of, I guess, stunning hits to the enemy. You see the long super carrot charge there to get a big old damage. Enemy attacks in this game are dangerous. They're dangerous in that they'll hurt you a lot, and you usually can't attack the enemy during their attacks, especially not safely. You definitely can't attack them safely. So the attack strings that Iwabi is going to be using is like designed to keep the boss stun locked as much as possible, to be able to get just as much damage as possible between the enemy's attack phases. Safely. Safely is the key word here. All right, with Villain defeated, that is our first town member recruit. You can see a town member count at the stats at the top of the screen. It says Town 1. You need 2 town members to start kind of the next events of the game. And we're going to go get the second one and possibly the most important town member next, because this boss actually locks a lot of different story-related things. Going to be using a trick here to grab this badge. This is arm strength. Kind of canceling their vertical movement there, or I guess horizontal movement, using one of the healing items we have that allows you to get that badge much earlier than you would normally be able to. This is Cicini, or is it Cicini? I actually don't know. Both of those might be wrong, actually. She's hilarious and shoots a lot of lasers and stuff. She has a really annoying defense buff phase near the end. Interestingly enough, enemies that have these buffs that they get at specific health points can't get that buff if they're in stun lock. So if you can keep an enemy like stunned without able to recover, you can push as far as you possibly can before these defense buffs come into play. And these defense buffs are like a lot. They turn many tens of damage into low single digits. They're pretty substantial. I think Susini actually gets 2 of them. She gets 2 different defense buffs, which feels a little overkill, but it definitely works out in her favor. Well, not this time. It didn't work out in her favor. Okay, so this is going to be a little weird, this section. With 2 town members, you can start the events to do a chapter transition. During the chapter transitions, you fight this boss, Illusion Alias, which is Irina, which is you, but not you. It's something else. I don't know. It's weird. This game plot is super weird. She hurts a lot. Iwabi just got hit once there and took 105 damage, which is, as you can see in the bottom left, more HP than they have. That's not what you want to see. This boss has very, very finicky damage boxes. It probably looked like they got hit by nothing. Oh gosh, there's a big one right there. Oh yeah, we also got the ability to lose the amulet, or to use the amulet, which is a special item that I'll go over in just a little bit here. So first, this trick is weird. Okay, a frame after this boss dies, you can trigger... Wait. Is that not used in this run? Wait, is that glitch not used in this run? Hold on. I'm starting to talk about a glitch that he doesn't use. Never mind. Don't worry about that. I promise I've seen this run once before. Don't worry about it. Now you're clear. You can skip from the Alias 1 fight to the Alias 3 fight by abusing an autosave that happens after that fight. But I guess they don't use it in this run. Okay, that's fine, whatever. Anyway, so beating Sasini and being in Chapter 2 conveniently teleports you to the riverbank area, which is great. Riverbank is where we want to be. Picking up some items along the way, including an attack up. There's a lot of attack up items that just give you a damage bonus, which is pretty sweet when these enemies have way more health than they should. Also picked up the Bunny Whirl, which is honestly probably my favorite item in the game. That this is like the only run that picks up. This is like the only category that I've seen pick this item up, which is great because this item's superb. I love it. It lets you do this cool little spin in the air, which isn't too useful for damage, but it lets you bounce off enemies' heads, which not only looks hilarious, but you get a lot of velocity, and it's super fun. Also going out of his way to pick up, is this the Weaken badge? What is this badge? They changed this badge, and I don't remember what it does anymore. I think it might lower the amount of invincibility frames bosses get when you hit them, which is pretty sweet. Oh yeah, there's the amulet, that flash of light and that circle that went around the bunny. That's the bunny amulet being used. You get like a second of invincibility when you use that. And that's pretty great for dodging attacks, but it has some attacking properties too, which definitely see a lot of use of later on. Here we pick up the slide. This lets us go through these tiny tunnels. You probably saw some of these tiny tunnels. I've been awake for like 2 hours. There's that amulet flash. Oh, and still got hit and died. Well, that's what you get for playing Bunny Extinction. They try to make your bunny extinct. What is the amulet right there for? I don't know. It's not for SP region. There's got to be a reason he uses it right there. I don't know, whatever. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, this slide. So we can get through tiny passages. Oh no. This is Mr. Big Box. He throws out a lot of bombs that sometimes don't hit you. Very often you can just stay to the left of this boss and he doesn't hit you at all, but he's being very disagreeable today. Dumb old Mr. Big Box. I love this boss. He's just, I don't know. He's a little tall to be a toaster, but I always think of him as a toaster. Well, yeah, I'd think to stun the boss, I suppose, but he gets an attack off anyway, right? The bombs come out. That's always his first attack. I don't know, whatever. I don't claim to know. I am not the runner. Yeah, slide gives us the benefit of going through these tiny tunnels. When I saw these tiny tunnels in the game, that I was thinking, oh, you turn into a bunny and have to crawl through these little tunnels. That's adorable. It's like, oh, Morph Bun acquired. And I was thinking that would be hilarious if that was the name of that item, the Morph Bun. But no, it was actually just a slide. You can zip in this game while sliding. Sliding is very, very important for doing things, doing unintended things in this game. Gonna be visiting, is this a shop visit? Okay, so visiting the shop in town while you have slide, it gives you the Bunny Strike item, which lets you do this like leaping attack. If you slide and then attack, you can do this leaping Bunny Strike attack, which does an okay amount of damage, but has kind of a cooldown on its big damage. I think it's mostly used in this run for zipping. Because you get just a tiny bit more height when you use the Bunny Strike. And I think you can use its like weird hitbox displacing properties to get a couple extra blocks of height or so to let you zip a couple places. Take out this mouse cursor enemy or they will You have to take out this mouse cursor enemy because they do 140 damage and will destroy you while you're trying to pick up this attack up over here. Did I mention that enemies in this game do a lot of damage yet? It's not like this on every difficulty, I promise. Just a couple of them. This one specifically does a ton, especially when you're not picking up all the health ups available. Okay, made it safely past the enemies. I'm gonna get to the next boss. This is Kotri 2. This is also a pretty notorious boss in that you need to be very exact on the way you damage her, because pretty much every single one of her attacks launches her in the air completely unattackable. And her second attack here, she'll try to jump off into the air, and if you use the drill attack at like just the right time, I don't want to say anything. I didn't get it. So you can kind of hit her a certain way with the drill where that attack right there, she stays grounded during it and get a lot of free damage. But with the super carrot, I suppose you can still attack her fairly reliably while she's up like that. I don't know if this boss one-shots you. It would be a two-shot for sure. Does this game have autosave? This game has autosaves everywhere. It feels like every single screen has an autosave. There's definitely one before every boss. What you might see, and I think has already happened at least once. Oh, here's the bunny world doing work here. During this attack, you can still attack her by doing your cool little spin. Oh, got hit. 121. That's a little bit more than 114, so gotta start over. Dang, that was so close too. You'll probably see this a lot, especially later on during the run. If the start of a boss fight doesn't go like exactly as Iwabi-san wants, he might restart the boss. You probably won't see much of an animation. The screen will fade out, and then he'll suddenly be before the boss. Oh no, just a little bit off center there. So you'll probably just like see when a save is reloaded, you'll see the screen flash for a moment, and then he'll just suddenly be back a little bit right before the boss. On later bosses, you will definitely see this, because if you don't start the fight exactly how you want it to go, the whole thing is going to go weird. Because then the boss will have like a different health value than you might be expecting, and then they'll use a different attack than you were expecting. There's Super Carrot putting in work there. Super Carrot does give you invincibility for maybe half a second. It's not very long. But it can be very useful in some situations. Some of the later things, I know you're probably talking about Hall of Memory in the library specifically. Don't expect to see a lot of the library in this run. But we'll get to that later, maybe in like almost an hour from now. So there was an example of Kotri kind of getting knocked to the ground there instead of being airborne during that attack, which lets you get so much extra damage in. So you'll see right there an instance of the amulet being used as an attacking option rather than a defensive one. So what the amulet does... where's he going? Don't you get air dash, or do you use something else? Oh, you can zip right there, and it sends you further over here pretty far. You get like one shot at it. Bosses in this game get invincibility frames when you hit them, and the longer your attack sequence and the specific attacks you use in that determine how many invincibility frames the boss gets after you hit them. Some attacks, such as your drill, where she drills up or down with the hammer, some of those attacks will ignore enemy invincibility frames, but they do get like progressively weaker as you continually use them. There's like a damage fall off. The amulet, when you use an amulet, the amulet's represented by the 3 orbs in the lower left. You'll see 2 of them are full, 1 of them is almost full. They recharge over time. The amulet you use, when you use it, you get a specific percentage of your SP back, so you'll be able to constantly keep attacking the enemy longer. It also removes enemies' invincibility frames for... yeah, it just flat out removes the enemy invincibility frames, so you can use the amulets offensively to continue your attack sequence, or you can use them defensively to give yourself about a second invincibility. It's very cool that you can use them that way, both ways. What did we see here in Sky Island Town? We picked up the rainbow egg. So Ribbon, your little companion that shoots the energy balls, she gets like maybe 7 different magics, I think. It all of them function very slightly differently, some more useful than others. We don't pick up too many of them. I think we get 4. I want to say 4 total. Rainbow Egg, there's the second one. It's weaker than the basic charge shot, but it does a couple interesting things. We also picked up the Air Dash, which once we upgrade it in town becomes the best form of movement in the game. Look how much faster this is than just walking. It's also much easier on your hands because there's a key you can bind that is specifically for air dashing. You can just hold it down and then press jump and you'll air dash on like the first possible frame. It's amazing. It's so fast. I love it. There's another hidden egg up there. You might have been seeing some of these eggs he's going slightly out of his way to pick up. They give you a little bit of money. There is money in this game. I mentioned the shop, but not actually money. Go figure. Each egg you pick up increases the damage slightly from the rainbow magic attack. The rainbow magic, it's like a slower moving homing projectile is what it is. But the charge shot function, oh gosh, what does it do? It does something weird, and I don't remember exactly what it does, but it's more than just damage. We also picked up, the air dash. Where are we going now? This is the pyramid. Hey, there's a zip in this game. You can zip right to the boss fight from the pyramid. Oh, barely got that out in time before we finish. Okay, so that skips like the entirety of the pyramid, but we're actually going to be going through the pyramid backwards a little bit to pick up a couple key items here. This is Pandora. She gets angry at you for not calling her princess, I think is the plot of why you're beating each other up. It's a good plot, I promise. Oh yeah, flashing warning. Well, that one was a little bit tame, but that attack can go full screen. This game has a flashing light warning to it. I don't think it's that bad, but I'm also not sensitive to that sort of stuff, so I'm not probably a good judge of that. I think the flashing circle that was just there is probably as bad as it gets in the game, but I mean, you be the judge of that. That Pandora fight, to me, looked pretty good. Kind of kept her stuck in the corner there, and she didn't run off or use her desperate. Oh my gosh, the 170 damage thwomp. I'm sorry, 770 damage thwomp. By the way, one of the badges we picked up. Oh no. Okay, hold on. Let me finish my thought first. One of the badges we picked up is the survival badge, which the survival badge, when equipped, makes it so that you take. If you're above 1 health, you don't die from a death hit. It's a focus. Yeah, if you're familiar with Pokemon, it's a focus sash. If you have more than 1 health, you'll only get knocked to 1 health whenever you take fatal damage. So what happened there is Iwabi got hit after the boss, but before being able to trigger a save point. There's actually a save point just to the left of this boss fight. You can walk out of this boss fight to the left and trigger an autosave, and that wouldn't have happened. But, I mean, you got to go fast, right? Couldn't take that hit that he took. Being at 1 health there, you can't be at 1 health there because you have to take... I would assume you have to take another hit past this point to where you would have died anyway. So that Thwomp room he got hit in, that's no good. Might end up taking the safety save here. Yeah, okay. Comes over here, grabs the autosave so that won't happen again. Don't get hit by these thwomps. Oh my gosh. By the way, you have a little bit of invincibility when you're doing whirl and air dash. It's very convenient. All right, going slightly out of our way to pick up the Chaos Rod. This is a magic type for Ribbon. It has a very, very wide shot in front of you. And its charge shot does like a slow on the enemy. I don't know if the slow is actually used that much in the speedrun. Oh gosh, I never talked about boost, did I? Ribbon also has this boost thing that she can do, which is like a super attack that damages enemies, right? I mean, that's the basic thing of it. But each of them has a different property as well. The boost attack for the Chaos Rod, it has a way it can damage enemies extremely rapidly. I don't know if that's used in this run, but it very well might be. Yo, there's the whirl bounce right off the cactus. Is he going to do it again? Going back the other way? Oh, I missed it. There we also just picked up the Sunny Beam, which is another type of magic for Ribbon. It's like this constant damaging line in front of you. You can see it right there. It doesn't do as much damage as other magic types, but it's like constant damage in front of you. And being able to do those rapid hits is awesome for some things. It's also extremely useful. You'll see it mostly used during some bosses, 2 bosses specifically that the Sunny Beam is A-okay for. This is the Kotree 3 fight. With any luck, Iwabi's going to be able to zip off this corner up here and do the fight, or rather, not do the fight. There you go. You can zip into this room and then walk out of the room, which triggers the boss in the wrong room. Then you can activate that save point, reload your save, and the boss is defeated. GG. Yeah, okay. I see people use the Sunny Beam in casual play like all the time. The Sunny Beam and the healing one. That's like all I see casual players use in this game, but I don't know. They're like the worst. Going out of his way to pick up a couple more items after glitching out Kotree. Picking up the Fire Orb, which is so good. The Fire Orb is so good. Game's hard. Use the healing one. Yeah, I see that a lot. A lot of players, when I watch them play this game casually, they are extremely defensive. They'll sit back and use ribbon shots more often than just running in and whacking things with the hammer. Which is fine if that's the way you want to play the game. You can play games however you want to. It's pretty slow, not gonna lie. It's so much damage you're missing out on. That's fine. Okay, grab the Fire Orb. Gonna go over here and upgrade it. No? Yes. Okay. You can buy upgrades. No, not upgrading the Fire Orb yet. Well, whatever. The Fire Orb is great. What it does is, after you run out of SP, you might see it here as he's dashing along here. You'll see these 3 little Fire Orbs surround Arena for like just a moment. They do pretty good damage. It also enables you to do contact damage with the enemy, which normally you just get hit from. You'll still get hit if you take contact damage from an enemy, but you'll also damage them. Doesn't sound too great, but it's actually amazingly important for the very last boss fight of the game, with a super cool trick that I learned just last night. This is Chocolate. She's I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that was really funny. Just casually walks forward, hugs your bunny, and you die. That's fine. Okay. Chocolate is extremely early boss. She doesn't have a lot of health compared to other bosses, but you can, if you wait long enough, you have the tools to kind of do her whole area backwards, so you don't have to travel that far to get to her. That's what happens when you get hugged by cats. Be careful. This is the bunny cat war. That should have been the plot of this game, right? The great bunny cat war. My gosh. Keeps your stun locked in the corner the entire time. See you, Chocolate. Gonna be going backwards through the ravine area here a little bit. There's 2 attack ups, I think. Yeah, there's 2 attack ups on the way to the warp point out of here. Oh, there's a nice zip right through there. No? Not gonna get the other attack up? What happened? Oh, he reloaded the save for some reason. Something weird happened and he's doing this again. Okay. The Bunny Cat Wars. The developer actually does have a second game that they're working on. I don't know if it has a... It only has a working title right now, and I don't know how far in development it is, but it looks as adorable as this one, that's for sure. All right, so what's the next? I have Iwabi Sound splits open, so I'm also trying to follow along with what the heck's going on because I'm not too familiar with the run. Going out of the way to get up another pack up. Holy crap! How many badges do you equip in this run? You need a lot of pack ups for this. Oh my gosh. Well, the next split says Cocoa too, so we're heading to Cocoa Cave right now. Oh my gosh, I have an emote for this occasion. There we go. There's a lot of fun things you can do in Cocoa Cave. We're gonna be picking up the charge ring, which lets Ribbon do a double charge if you hold down the magic button long enough. We're also gonna fight Cocoa in this room here. This is gonna look weird. He's gonna run all the way through this cave to pick up the charge ring, come all the way back to fight Cocoa, and I think is gonna go through the cave again to do a zip. Maybe that doesn't happen in this run? I'm actually not sure. We'll find out. Thanks for watching this speedrun for the first time together with me, who's also watching it for the first time. What was that for? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Another badge I forgot to mention. When you picked up the survival badge, the one that makes you survive low health hits, you also picked up the crisis boost badge, which gives you more damage the lower health you have. So you're gonna see him take big hits from enemies on purpose, and that's to get this low health damage buff, which is ridiculously brave, by the way. But at least with the survival badge equipped, as long as you don't have 1 health, you're safe from a hit. Cocoa here has a lot of attacks that can be really hard to dodge, but as long as you don't let her run to the other side of the screen, she doesn't use those attacks. So if you kind of keep her locked on one side of the screen here, it's much, much safer than letting her run around like a dummy. There she goes. Okay, now that we have 6 town members, there's this little side boss fight where you play as a different character we haven't met yet and have to kick some ghosts, and that's it. Cool little section. That's right. You get to play as Rita, but we haven't seen Rita yet, so I guess... Why is Hall of Memory the next split? Oh gosh, is there a weird zip coming up? I think there's a weird zip coming up. Okay, survival's on. I'm trying to figure out what's happening. Survival badge at 2. Yeah, as soon as you go above 1 health, the survival badge resets. You don't have to like tag a save point or anything like that. Oh, also picks up the wall jump. This lets you do wall jumps much easier, and when you upgrade them, it actually gives you an additional wall jump, which is very handy compared to the 2 you normally get innately. Where is this? Where are we going? Okay. There's a mini boss over here, Rainbow Maid, who takes a long time to fight. You can do the zip, trigger the boss fight in the wrong room, in the room that has a warp point. Warp points during boss encounters do not function right. Like, really not right. You can actually warp straight to the middle of the Hall of Memories, which is a post-game area. Normally don't get a warp here, by the way. These enemies probably do about 300 damage, so don't get hit by them. Yeah, the game does not like warp points in boss rooms, let me tell you. You can warp all the way here. Hall of Memories, this is 160 damage, you're fine. So when you defeat an enemy, you get a tiny bit of health back, so as long as you can... If you get hit to 1 health, as long as you can defeat an enemy before getting hit again, you'll be fine. It gets really hectic in this area, because there's a lot of opportunities to get hit and take 429 damage. But as long as you can defeat 1 enemy and have above 1 health, you'll be fine. It gets very scary here, but I think it's hilarious. The whirl gets a lot of use here too, being able to bounce off of enemies to keep your momentum going. So at the end of Hall of Memories is the Miriam. Miriam is the boss fight at the end of this. I don't know if we're fighting Miriam yet, but we will be getting a warp point so that we can come back here whenever it's time to fight Miriam, who is a really cool boss fight, whose mechanics you don't really see in the speedrun, unfortunately. Big fan of this boss fight that you won't get to see much of. I'm sorry. Guess you'll just have to play the game casually. This room is really dangerous, by the way. That super care right there is a very, very good idea. There's a lot of enemies that can hit you immediately after getting in the room here. Having 1 health is not ideal. Watch out for this mummy guy. There's Alron. We're not going to be seeing her later, by the way. That fight gets skipped. Does he do any money farming here? I guess not. Wait, is this the money farm room? Or is this... No. No? I guess we'll money farm later, maybe. I thought there was a money farm section there. Maybe he cut it out of the run. Which is sweet, because it was a good, like, 20 seconds or so of money farming. I love just taking, like, 4 times of your max health and damage and still being fine. Oh my gosh. So after this boss fight, I'm looking ahead at the splits. The Alias 2 fight is after this. I'm also noticing there's not an Alias 3 split. Oh, that's because that whole thing is it. Oh! 222 damage. That's okay, there's an autosave. The autosaves in this area are pretty scarce, but luckily there was one right there. I think that's actually the last one of this area. I'm just about done. This is actually a pretty common point where you go just to take damage to get low health, because you can just run left of this save point here, eat crap from the enemy, and then walk off and do your thing. Okay, so now that we're out of Hall of Memories, the Rainbow Maid boss fight is actually skipped. She counted as defeated, thankfully. And now we can go to System Interior, which is a pretty cool cyber area where we're going to unfortunately skip the cutest boss. That's right, we can fight. Wait, are we not doing that yet? Hold on, we're not going to System yet. We're not going to System Interior yet. My bad. Now we get to fight a bunch of nerds and do what we call the mini-boss load glitch, where if you go to the load menu and scroll past slot 4, it counts like all of the mini-bosses on the screen as defeated, so you only have to beat up a single one to end the encounter rather than all of them, which is very useful. Here's the Alias 2 boss fight. She's more dangerous than the first one, but it's much of the same. Yeah, there's actually nerds you can fight in this game. So when you say fight me nerd, it's actually accurate. These Alias fights, as super dangerous as they are, also have like no HP. This one's actually a 2-phase fight where you have to fight the Shadow Ribbon too. If you beat up Shadow Ribbon here really fast, the game actually soft locks. And by soft lock, I mean it doesn't come back after fading to black right here. Now do we go to Sissant? Don't make me look like a fool anymore, please. Okay, now we're going to System Interior. We skip, there's a mini boss fight and there's a major boss fight in Sissant, and we skip pretty much both of them. You also can't use your hammer. The enemies don't take damage from the hammer in this place. But there's like an 8 mini boss encounter at the start here that you can skip using the mini boss load glitch. You just beat this one, and instead of fighting 8, you just have to fight 1. You can leave, which is super cool. What is this? This is double jump. It gives you exactly what it says it is. So this is like the last item you get for prime movement tech. You've got double jumps, you've got wall jumps, you've got air dash. The movement in this game is super fun. I have a lot of fun just flying around like a dumb bunny in this game, going anywhere you want to. Going out of his way here. I don't even remember what this item is. It's an attack up, okay. This feels like a long detour for an attack up, but I guess when the enemies, when you're on like the highest difficulty and enemies have as much health as they have, it's probably worth it. Oh, don't fall into that lava, bunny. What are you doing? Get out of there. The cyber lava, whatever. Oh, here's a cool zip coming up. There's a ceiling up here that isn't exactly there. If you go up there, it triggers the boss fight. You immediately fall out of the boss fight, which counts the boss fight as defeated. This game is weird. Unfortunately, you don't get to see Sharo, as cute as she is. I think that's like that cutscene flash there is like the only time in the game you get to see her. So unfortunate. A firewall? That's probably what it is. You're right. So what happens here? What do we upgrade? So if you unequip items, you can purchase their upgrades for like dirt cheap. I have no idea why this works, but it does. Okay, charge, ring, wall jump, hammer upgrade, and fire orb upgrade. Got it. The wall jump upgrade lets Bunny wall jump 3 times now instead of 2, which is cool. And I think the other ones are just for convenience usage. You can also buy buffs from your recruited town members here. They're walking around town, and each one gives a specific buff that I'd say about half of them are useful. Some of them are definitely marginally useful, but not worth it. The only one we picked up right there was Amulet Cut, which makes you use less of the amulet gauge whenever you use an amulet. So prior to this, there's 3 uses of it. It's those orbs in the bottom left. They're all 3 full and flashing, which means we have 3 amulet usages. The Amulet Cut buff makes it so that it doesn't use a full gauge whenever you use an amulet. It only uses about 75% of one. So that's cool. It's pretty nice. The other majorly good buffs we don't actually have yet. Okay. That was the boost of the Chaos Rod we picked up. So whenever you use a boost, Ribbon like flies up in the middle of the screen and she shoots off her magic and does whatever it is she does, depending on the magic you have selected. The Chaos Rod magic has some sort of like shotgun property to it. If you like place Ribbon exactly where the boss is, like if the boss also flies up to the middle of the screen, you can like place Ribbon on top of her with the Chaos Rod and it like destroys him. I don't know why that works. I have no idea why that works, but it's cool that that's actually used in the run. I wasn't sure. I would assume so if you went out of your way to pick up the Chaos Rod. Traveling up Aurora Palace here, going to Nieve, who's a very bouncy bear. And I love watching people fight this fight casually because it's so hard to keep her pinned down. She also has extremely playful boss music, which adds to the frustration of trying to keep her pinned down. Look at her bouncing around. Stop it, dumb bear. She shoots lasers. I don't think that laser should have come out. That was weird. I think probably didn't do as much damage as he wanted to push her to the next attack phase. Yeah, she's pretty hard to keep pinned down and has a lot of dangerous stuff. Watch out. Amulet. Oh. You want to keep bosses pinned in the corner as much as possible. You can actually use the air dash as an attack, and it does a surprising amount of damage, but it's really only useful if you can keep the boss pinned in the corner because, you know, it will send you flying. Missing out on some great music? Yeah, you are. Soundtrack in this game is super. I love it. It's very playful. So our reward for picking up Nieve is the water orb, which gives you uninhibited movement in the water, which conveniently we're falling very many stories down right into the water here. You move at a snail's pace in water. Well, unless you're using air dash, I suppose, if you don't have the water orb. More importantly, the water orb lets you zip in the water, which Iwabi got first try right there, but you couldn't see because it was dark. You zip into Sheena's room, which is the boss of this gym, and trigger an autosave on the way out of her boss fight, reload the boss fight to get rid of the darkness, and the boss counts as defeated. Huh. The water orb is pretty cool. On the way out of the zone here, pick up an attack up and escape. So beating Nieve and Sheena don't actually recruit them yet. We have to recruit all the town members, not just defeat them. They have different triggers for their recruitment. And I think we're heading up to Icy Summit to do Nixie, which will also recruit Nieve. That you get both of the bears at the same time. Cool little trick coming up here. There's an invisible wall up here above or next to the boss trigger. If you constantly, luckily there's a save point right next to it too. If you trigger the save point, you get your air jump back, and then you can wall jump off an invisible wall and hit the save point again. You can keep doing this. I guess you couldn't really see it. You like bound back and forth, climbing up this invisible wall while auto loading or while loading your save point, and you can actually just fly right over the boss trigger. Then the boss starts in the wrong room, which means you can simply leave the room, and that recruits the boss. Ugh. I love this game, dude. Speedrunning lingo is so weird. Like, if I just said what I said to anyone who hasn't haven't seen a speedrun before, what the hell are you talking about? All right, that's 10 town members. In a casual playthrough, 10 town members is what you want because that is the minimum you need to trigger the final events of the game. You can go fight like the last 4. There's the last boss in this game for like the main. Oh, there's a cool little jump here. Oh, that's sick. Using the amulet to get a little bit more height, so you can do that. What was I talking about? You need 10 town members to start the final sequence of the game. But, oh, that zip was so cool. What the heck? That was rad. Use the knockback off kicking an enemy to fly into a tunnel. What the hell? That's awesome. Oh, yeah, we skipped town 9. Sorry. What is he doing? What are you trying to do here? I don't know what's... Turning off the auto earrings? Oh, whoa, what's happening? What is this glitch? Oh, I've seen this glitch before. It lets Ribbon shoot really fast. Whoa. What's happening? I love this. This is the rainbow magic shot that homes in on enemies. Look at that. That's not only is that beautiful. Oh, he's about to get hit. Watch out. You have 1 health. I've seen this glitch before. I've seen this glitch before, but I haven't seen it used in a run. I've never done this glitch before, so I have no idea what it does. Or like how to trigger it or anything. I mean, obviously what it does is it causes Ribbon to shoot a lot. I want to say the run I saw of this was like a month old and did not utilize this glitch. This is why you get rainbow magic, I guess, to do this. Holy cow, that was awesome. I wonder how... Whoa! That's the Chaos Rod shot, by the way. It fans out really large in front of you. I wonder if that's used anywhere else. That was sick. Big fan of that. That was Saya. She's kind of whatever. You recruit here by doing this trigger in this room over here, so gotta visit this. Goes away on screen transition. Does he still have it on? You can't really tell with Sunny Beam because it just leaves that piercing projectile. What's he buying now? Buying some buffs here. Gets a health up buff. Gets a defense up. What does Nixie give? Nixie lets you lower the attack damage of enemies. There's Nieve. Nieve has probably the most important buff in the game, which is give defense down. It lets you put a defense debuff on enemies. Oh, we're fighting Sheena. Wait, are we fighting Sheena? Yeah. Okay. So we're about to fight Sheena over here. The second Sheena fight is unique in that she has she has an invincibility buff on herself, a near invincibility buff, and she just constantly drains health over time. This is meant to be kind of like a bullet hell boss, right? You're supposed to just survive is what this is supposed to be. What is in fact happening is that the buff that causes her to take no damage actually causes her to take 100% less damage. And the give defense down makes enemies take 25% more damage, which oh gosh, I'm having Path of Exile stat flashbacks here. Anyway, the ending result is that the enemy takes a little bit of damage, but not the full damage. So you can still actually do damage during this fight. It's just not a lot. But it's enough to cause this to be significantly faster. As long as you can keep the defense debuff on her. There we go. 1/4 is probably about as much damage as you normally would. Yeah, that sounds right. I didn't want to say that and be wrong, but yeah, increase does not mean more, right? I say the Nieve buff with the defense down is really good, but Sheena also gives an equally good attack plus buff. It's just straight up attack buff, which is really good considering how difficult she is to recruit. She actually has 6 specific town members you need in order to actually recruit her. But she gives probably the best buff in comparison. This is Miriam. She walks slowly from side to side before doing an attack, but she only does her attacks are based off items in the game, and she only uses that attack in her sequence if you have picked up that specific item, which is pretty dang cool that there's a boss fight with that mechanic. Unfortunately, you don't get to see a whole lot of this because you kind of just rush her down using the survival badge to get low health, and then the crisis boost badge to increase your damage because you have low health. Also picked up the orange magic there, the carrot shooter. Also does more damage if you have lower health. So Carrot Shooter does a lot of damage during that fight, and she kind of gets destroyed before you can see a whole lot of her fight. Very recommend doing that fight with all the items, because it's pretty cool to see how the boss interprets the items as an attack. Okay, we're on the way to Ashuri 2. You might remember her from the prologue. This fight is such a pain in the butt. This is the fight where you might have gone too casually before the game prepares you for. The game doesn't stop you from getting here, but the game tells you to go away, and if you don't go away, go the right way, the game says, hey, you should do this instead, but oh well. And if you keep going, you run into this boss fight, which is a big old pain in the butt. Luckily, we are armed to the teeth with debuffs and buffs, and unfortunately had to reset there because something didn't go favorably. I couldn't tell you what it is. There's so many small things that happen during attack sequences that if something doesn't happen, unless you're a runner, you probably aren't going to catch it. She has a nice hat. I love her witch hat. It's so good. This boss fight also gets an increasingly giant defense buff unless you keep her in hit stun the entire time to where she doesn't get time to get that buff. So it lets you actually completely destroy her in that corner, which is awesome. And then a zip out lets you go to the warp point very quickly. What's happening now? We're doing Lilith. Oh yeah, you can actually go out of bounds there. Lilith is a 2-part fight. You can actually completely skip her first phase by flying over it. And then you do Lilith 2, which is a like 2.5 minute auto-scrolling shmup section. Summoned into Kocher 2. Kocher 2 is also probably similar to Ashuri in being extremely dangerous for the time a casual player might actually find her. So yeah, this is a long one. If you have like a minute you need to go do something for, here's your break. This is like the best time to use the Sunny Beam. So there's 2 of these flying sections in the game. One of them is Lilith 2 here. The other one is during Rumi, who is maybe about 10 minutes from now. A little less than 10 minutes. The Sunny Beam charge shots, you see these like, you see they're right there. Those little yellow beams that spit out. Usually an enemy can only get hit by one of those beams, even if multiple ones overlap them. During flying sections, these beams can actually shotgun. Every single one of them does the damage. And what is that fairy doing? She's shooting off in the nowhere. Every single one of these beams does their full damage during these flying sections. So if you get into a boss's face and shoot him with this, you get a lot more damage than you otherwise would. Also, your hitbox is extremely weird during these flying sections. I have no idea where your hitbox is. You get hit by things you think you dodged, and you don't take hits from things that you think you should. I'm pretty sure, though, you probably die in this section in 2 or 3 hits. Let's see if we can get a big old shotgun hit at the start of Lilith coming up. Oh, there she is. Charge shot. Wait for the double charge. Oh, you can see all those hundreds that pop up. They only flash for a second. But it's significantly more damage than the Sunny Beam would otherwise do. Okay. Yeah, it can only take 3 hits during this fight. It's super scary, because you don't... With the weird hitbox in this section, it's really hard to determine if you're going to get hit or not. But luckily, doesn't get hit a 3rd time there and gets through that. What's going on? I don't know why he's down here. Is this a weird zip? What is this zip skip? Where are you going, bunny? Oh my gosh. Where are you right now? Where does this take us? Is this... Oh, is this the boss rush cave? Yo, that's the Rumi boss arena. Okay. So there's a boss rush section in the post game where you have to fight a lot of bosses again, and I guess that skips that entire section. That's fine, sure. You can do that. It also gives us the warp point, so whenever it's time to go fight Rumi, we can actually just warp right there. I don't know if Rumi's there right now. I don't even know if you could trigger that fight. Buying a couple more buffs. What's next? Alron skip? Yes. Yes, okay. So up here is Night Forest, which is dark if you don't have the light orb. And we don't. We don't have the light orb, so you're not going to see a whole lot. But there's a tunnel after the boss fight here that you fall down to like come back, the return tunnel. You can go up that tunnel by doing this weird sequence of jumps that, oh my gosh, you got first try. Trigger the boss fight in the wrong room, and you can simply leave and not fight the boss. Cool. After this is KK Bunny. We're going to Plurkwood. This place is bizarre. I love it. But we're also not fighting the boss here. Wait, yeah, we are. We are fighting the boss here. We're just doing the entire zone backwards. Okay. This is a pretty long zone, but you can actually just do these semi-solid clips here to get behind the boss. I'm pretty sure this boss doesn't play nice if you trigger her from the wrong side. So you have to fly over the boss trigger to get to the right side, which is what this weird jump is here. And just to come back, and here's KK Bunny. This boss fight is also bizarre. KK Bunny herself is also very bizarre. She has a couple attacks where she opens up the floor into these spike pits. You used to be able to like instantly win if she fell on the spike pits. I think that might have been patched out. But there's also, well, it doesn't really matter anyway because the boss kind of got rushed down, huh? That doesn't recruit KK quite yet. We'll do that in a little bit. There's a lot of glitches in this game that the developer left an option to turn on, which is super cool, by the way. I can't believe a developer would do that, but I and the speedrun community are very grateful that some people are willing to do that for their games. Okay, bunch of weird stuff about to happen. I think I feel like this happens a lot. This is the Alias 3 section. What we're going to do here is fight some nerds and then zip into the final boss fight of the main story. It's not the final boss of the game, but of the main story. So the final boss sequence is like a sequence of 4 bosses that you have to fight consecutively. Pretty cool, by the way. The Miru boss fight, fantastic. I love it. Unfortunately, we don't see it in this run. Of the 4 ending boss fights, we see one of them. We're going to zip out of here, do a bunch of weird things. I haven't done this myself, so I can't really say the specifics. I do know, however, that there's a spike pit here that you take a lot of damage in. About 900 damage, actually. That you only get a couple tries to zip out of off a corner that you can't see. And then if you just simply don't get enough. You have to use an amulet each time you try it because you have to like not take damage from the spikes because they kill you, right? So you only get a couple tries at that before you have to reset again. These stupid invisible spikes. If you're familiar with this game, the big spirit bunny thing on a platform that has the 2 fire pits on the side, that's what this arena is above us. This pit that you're taking damage from is those damaging pits in that boss fight. We're right under that boss fight, which doesn't have a normal boss trigger, so we can just kind of enter that arena and not have to worry about it. There's a lot of invisible collision here that he's trying to do some precise movements to get in the exact spot to be able to zip through. I think that was it. Okay, here's that boss arena, and you can actually just walk over here and start the final boss. This is the final boss of the main game. Luckily, has an autosave and automatically heals you to full right at the start of the boss fight, so you don't have to worry about that. This fight's pretty neat. She has a couple attacks that you can actually destroy with your magic attacks, which is a neat mechanic. Has an attack that can give you a damage buff, which is pretty cool if she uses it. It's not this one, unfortunately. She might have a chance to use it rather than always use it, because I know I think one of the bosses, a couple of the bosses have like a super carrot doing pretty good work there. Alright. Well, while this is the final boss of the main game, that is not time yet. We still have probably 15-20 minutes left of the run. So don't mind these credits. They go very fast. Okay, so this starts the post-game. First thing we're doing in post-game, according to the splits I'm looking at, we're going to buy more attack ups because the post-game lets you buy more stuff. You saw a bun box? I know, it's a great image. Big fan of the one box. Buy some buffs. The next split says Rumi, which is a really cool boss fight. Rumi is a pretty long fight. It's a phase fight, is what it is. She has like, that's not good. You did not want to talk to KK there. Oh, or did he? I actually don't know if he wanted to talk to KK there or not. Talking to KK Bunny there is what triggers her recruitment. I don't know if that's going to matter. It's something you'll have to do anyway. But it can be a little annoying because the NPC spawn in town is random, so you have to kind of run around town to find the right boss you want. What's over here? Oh, spikes are over here. Okay, you want to be at 1 health. I gotcha. That makes sense. Here's Rumi. Starting this boss fight gives you a 4th amulet slot. So that's pretty cool. Now we have 4 of them. It actually starts like a second after the fight starts. That's weird. Yeah, now we have 4 of them now. That's cool. Those little stars on the top left of the boss health bar, those are how many health bars she has. It's a lot. Each of the transitions between her phases has this little flying section where you're not really expected to do much damage here, but if you can do damage, it carries over into the next phase, which is pretty cool. Oh, God. You also can't get hit because you have 1 health. Isn't that cool? Architecture fan. Yeah, she has some weird real-world images in the background of some parts. It's kind of strange. After the flying sections end, you get a little bit of health back, and she puts a buff on herself, which causes... oh gosh, what is this buff? I think it's any damage you do over 99 causes that damage to be reflected on yourself, which is what all these blue numbers are, by the way. It's self-damage, but it lets you... You can still rush down the boss, right? Because she still has a normal... She's not taking any less damage or anything. As long as you're okay with being at 1 health, you can keep rushing her down. It's fine. You just have to be super confident. There's the waterfall of blue. Those are all damage reflect numbers. I love it. I love the utilization of the charge shot for the Chaos Rod here. It does a minor slow, which you don't usually see that much in runs because the slow also affects you. But I think we picked up a badge earlier that makes you immune to the slow, which I guess slows down the boss just enough to get an extra attack cycle in, which is enough, which is pretty cool that kind of optimization is in the run. Oh, look at those buildings. It's pretty hard to dodge the entirety of these air phases. Because like I said, the hitbox of the flying sections is so strange. Especially the last part. There's lasers that start getting added in, and anyone familiar with shmups might know lasers are dangerous because they're not bullets. They are lines of damage you cannot cross. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing to me too, who's played this game a lot, that this amount of beatdown can be done while not taking damage yourself. Oh, okay. So you do actually have a few healing items in this game, and I think one was used there for safety. So now he can take... Oh my gosh, that's a lot of weird lasers. Actually take a couple hits here and be safe. And I do mean a couple. Not that many. That was awesome. I had to reset a time or two, but I mean, that was great. That's a very long fight. Casually, that's almost a 10-minute fight. Okay, that might be exaggerating a little bit, but it probably certainly feels that way. It's long. It's really long. Where are we going now? We're going to the Rainbow Crystals. The Rainbow Crystals is a mini boss that you have to fight to recruit Ashri. In lower difficulties, you can actually just use a Cocoa Bomb and it immediately ends this encounter. You actually have to do the damage here, and Super Care is going to be a lot of use here because they are all flying around. That's a lot of damage numbers. They're all flying around, and you can chain together amulets and Super Carrot, and then jump in the middle, bam, use a Cocoa Bomb, which defeats them all at the same time. When you beat one, the rest of them heal a little bit, but if you blow them all up at the same time, that's pretty cool. Don't have to worry about that mechanic. So that recruits Ashri. That gives 23 town members. Is that all of them? Is that all of them except the final boss? The actual final boss? We recruited KK Bunny, and that'd be the only outlier, I think. Okay, so those familiar with the game, we're going to go fight Irisu. We're not doing the library at all. You can actually skip the entire library by flying over it this way. You can see a weird bit of unused geometry here. The boss fight has a healing pad in front of it. You can trigger the boss fight in a way that causes the healing pad to be in the boss room, so you can actually constantly heal on top of that. One of the Irisu gives you like a series of debuffs at the start here. One of them removes your invincibility frames, so you can abuse the invincibility frames and the fire orb. The fire orb lets you do contact damage to enemies, so you can abuse. With you constantly healing on the heal pad, you also can't die as long as you have more than 1 health, which the heal pad constantly puts you on top of. And you don't have invincibility frames because the boss removes them. So you can just sit on top of them, and the fire orb drains their health. Like, you can't see the healing pad, but he's on top of it right now, and that's why he's not dying. So you can kind of just stand here until the boss fight ends. She doesn't die immediately. You have to. She has a couple phase transition attacks that she has to get through before the game recognizes that, oh, you have low enough health to phase change. How new is this? This trick? I don't know. I do not know how new this trick is, but whenever I saw this from the other day, I definitely had to figure out what the heck is mechanically going on here. I didn't get the explanation done before it happened, but it's really funny at the start whenever her health starts disappearing. Oh, there's also a ceiling above her right now. You can't see it because it's invisible, but because we entered the boss fight the wrong way, there's still a ceiling in this room. And that's why there's bunnies hopping around up there. Yeah, I didn't see this until earlier too. Okay, so now the invincibility debuff has worn off, which means that you start taking knockback from being hit. So you kind of have to reposition yourself after getting hit. This heal point is still here. Oh, there it is. You can see it flashing a couple times there. This final section, this boss fight also takes like 10 minutes, by the way, casually. It's a pretty dang cool fight. Ending in this endurance phase where you can't attack the boss and you kind of have to just dodge her attacks while her health slowly drains. There's a couple things you can do to speed it up. Like, I think the rainbow boost helps. If you use the chaos rod boost, which is going on right now, it causes you to reflect damage, which is a way you can do minor amounts of damage to speed it up, but it's really just an auto-scroller, right? Yeah, the end boss fight, as cool as it is, ends with a rad-looking glitch. So now we're just kind of hanging out on the heal point for her health to run out. This is... Once the screen fades to white, that'll be the end of the run. All in all, pretty cool. because this runs like an hour and a half, I thought I would maybe have break time, but no, there's just crap to talk about everywhere. You just have to make sure after getting hit that you get on top of the heal point before you get hit again. This is really long on this difficulty. Holy cow. Only halfway done? Jeez. On the lower difficulties, you're almost done by now. For sure. And yeah, you can dodge all this stuff. It probably looks weird if you haven't actually had your hands on the game, but it wants you to utilize all of your movement abilities to be able to dodge all this. Oh, he's getting cheeky, walking away from the heal point. Uh-oh. Let me look up Iwabi's PB. I'm actually not sure what it is. I'm curious to know. I don't know what safeties might have been taken for a marathon run like this. Maybe an additional health up or two that he doesn't usually get. Well, the PB time I see recorded is about a 124, 125 between there. Pretty dang good. Had a couple unfortunate deaths and had to restart a couple bosses to get some favorable positioning, but hey, pretty dang good. And as the screen fades to white here, that'll be the end of Rabi-Ribi. Barely cutting the 128. Awesome. That was so cool. Oh my gosh. Thank you all for hanging out. Watching some bunny game early morning. Goodness, it's not even noon yet. Yeah, we got a pretty cool speedrun community for this game. Definitely come hang out. There's a randomizer for this game if that's your sort of thing. We have one of the few. I'm pretty proud of this. I say I'm proud of this, but I didn't help in constructing this at all. Rabi has a constraint randomizer. It like adds and removes obstacles in areas to account for different items, which puts some more use out of some items that you don't normally get a whole lot of use out of in the game. Pretty cool. Yeah, we're cool. Bunnies are awesome. Thanks for watching. Support RTA in Japan. Yeah, I was also surprised about how much was going on. I am so glad I took pictures, right? I watched the run and I like took pictures of his splits because like every single route of this game is different slightly in some way. Like if you watched an ATM run of like the casual difficulty, things are going to be in a very different order than this. I want to say the casual run of this game, like when you're not doing post-game stuff, is pretty quick. It's around 20 minutes, if not less. But there's a lot of extra content you can do in this game. Thank you so much. I had a good time. I'm always down for watching Bunny Game. Shoutouts to all these people in the credits, whose names I can't read. Didn't use the Halloween outfit. It's true. You have a couple other outfits that you can wear, and decided on this one.
買っていただけたらと思います。
そうですね。ちょっと奏者の方もバニーエクステンション状態になっちゃってるので。
ランナーエクスティンクション状態だったので、ちょっと、みんなちょっと救世主をね、募集しておりますので。
This game also has another character you can play as. You can play as Cocoa and go through, I think, most of the game, if not all of it, just fine with Cocoa. She's way broken, by the way. If you watch a Cocoa speedrun, that is intense. She's so fast and has broken as heck abilities. But yeah, I think this, I think this game's on sale for the Steam sale going on. If you want to play it, it's a fun, casual experience. There's a lot of heckin' dialogue in this game, dude. Oh my gosh. But the gameplay, absolutely superb. How much is Rabi-Ribi right now? Save me, Steam sale. Oh, Wabi's waving. I gotta cut off here soon. Oh my gosh. This game is $7.19 on Steam sale. It's 60% off. Go play Bunny Game. It's really fun. Oh my gosh. I need to get out of here. Have a good rest of your day. What's coming on next? I can't read that. Oh my gosh. You guys speak Japanese? What are you talking about? What's next? Wait, I want to say what's next. Oh, it's Dragon Quest V. Okay. It's Dragon Quest V. And I see 2 commentators ready to come in. So I'm going to hop out. Stay tuned and have a good day. Thanks for hanging out.